Admittedly, this might be the only Mission Impossible movie where I actually remember the plot after I watched it, but it's not for a good reason. Alright, guys. So now we're on to the movies I've seen in theaters recently. Now it's time on the stuff I've watched streaming. The first one I want to talk about is one I just finished literally today, which is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Which is obviously the latest entry in the Mission Impossible franchise. It's one that a couple people asked me to review because I did miss it in theaters, and I really tried, but there's just like this fucking year, man. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is a solid entry. I wasn't in love with this compared to the other movies, but there is some very specific reasons for that, and that's because I feel like already elements of this film have already aged like milk because the filmmakers were a little too gung-ho about believing some technical advances were here to stay, and unfortunately a lot of movies already could have been tainted to unintentionally funny degrees as a result. So basically what it boils down to is the movie takes its plot very, very seriously, as like all Mission Impossible movies do. But the plot is actually very silly when you stop and think about it, or just take it into a modern context. And it feels like it was written by people who don't quite understand the modern nature of this technology. I'll get more into it in a bit, but I mean, like, to be fair, you're not really watching a Mission Impossible movie for the plot. You can put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you the plot of any of these fucking movies, and I've seen like all but 1 and 2. Nobody watches these movies for the plot. We all know it. We all understand that's the case. And we just all kind of tricked ourselves like this is the more serious version of the Fast and Furious franchise, which it essentially is. At least Fast and Furious has a bit more, self-awareness about it. Although this one is trying, I feel, to be a bit more self-aware than previous entries, there is definitely more of an air of, we know this is kind of ridiculous, and we're just kind of leaning into it, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with the dialogue in particular kind of taking that approach. But again, this Mission Impossible movie still has all the issue that all the other movies have, which is it thinks we know way more about the characters than we actually do. So like every time a character comes back outside of like Simon Pegg, I have to go like, wait, who was that? What movie were they in? What were their role they play? Why should I care if they live or die? What are we doing? Like the only ones you recognize from these movies are like Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg. Those are really the only two you know, because Simon Pegg's in like every one of these fucking things. But everyone else, I'm kind of like, except this time joining them is Captain Carter, who is Haley Atwell as Grace, who is kind of like this thief slash con woman who comes into Ethan Hunt's orbit during during an attempted heist, I guess, and just kind of keeps getting swept up in Ethan Hunt's orbit. So the plot of this movie, for those who don't know or don't care, is that there is now this super advanced AI that is on a Russian sub that allows their sub to go it's like super secret, you guys. It's such a super secret sub with super secret AI that's super smart and all shit. But eventually it grows to intelligent and kind of goes rogue, and the submarine sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and the only way to access the AI are these two keys that form together to make a cross. And everyone wants the keys because if they have the AI, that means they can control all the information flow on the internet, which means they can control the world. Which is just I don't know. It feels like it's giving a little too much power to trolls. Now, granted, to be fair, misinformation and propaganda on the internet is a huge problem, and I'm not trying to discredit that. But the movie here makes it sound like it's fucking magic how it works, and that I don't know. It literally paints this AI thing as a fucking god, and it's so unintentionally hilarious to me, considering what we currently refer AI as, which is not real AI. It's not AI as they're talking about in the movie, but it's like, yeah, if we can control this AI, we can also make shitty thrown together pictures that are made from other artists' work. I don't know, it's unintentionally hilarious. Everyone treats this AI with such a huge reverence, and I don't know, it makes me laugh thinking about like what we actually know about AI right now, and the technology is nowhere even close to something like this, which would be which isn't a deal breaker in itself. Sure, we like Skynet or like this is not a new plot line. We've seen like killer AI has been like a plot device for decades. It's basically just another version of Skynet. But there's also references to like the blockchain and fucking what's associated with blockchain, cryptocurrency and all that crap, and that made me laugh because I'm like, oh boy, that did not age well. The writers and filmmakers were way too confident in that being a modern like technology that was here to stay that ever had any form of legitimacy. So basically, there's this wild goose chase for these two keys that are somewhere around the world. Like a couple people have them. One of them is one of Ethan Hunt's old contacts, who I don't remember from any of the movies. I have no idea if she was in them or not. And the other one is somewhere else. Someone else has them somewhere. Meanwhile, while this is happening, the villain from, like, I'm guessing the very first Mission Impossible movie, named Gabriel, is also back, and he's working with the AI to try to get the keys for reasons I don't really know. While Ethan Hunt just wants to destroy the AI entirely, which is why he's after the keys. So everyone's after these stupid fucking keys. Which is fine. Again, it's a Mission Impossible movie. I'm not here for the plot. I don't need it to be ultra intricate or complex. I just need it to lead to cool stunts. That's all I fucking need. That's all I've ever needed from these films. And I think we've all had a mutual understanding of what that means. And like I feel like we're all on the same page in that nobody ever talks about the plot of these fucking movies. I'm talking about this plot of this movie way more than I think I ever have for any Mission Impossible movie because I just find it that silly. So while they're hunting, and of course it means Ethan Hunt goes rogue again, which to me even begs the question of why he's with the IMF to begin with, because I feel like he goes rogue every fucking movie. I don't think I've ever seen Mission Impossible movie where he actually works with the IMF all the way through. Feels like he's always going fucking rogue. So what is even the point of the Impossible Mission Task Force, whatever the hell it's called? Either way, it seems like a pointless thing. Just let Tom Cruise do whatever he's doing, but no, we have to have conflict, so he's going rogue again. So now these other two agent dudes that are also after him, that just kind of just show up wherever the plot needs them to be. It's not entirely clear why they're there or why we're wasting so much time on them, other than we just need something else to escalate the tension, but okay, whatever. And I think one reason I'm kind of picking apart the plot more than the previous entries is because I just wasn't as impressed with the stunt work this time around. There's still some really cool stuff in there, don't get me wrong. Some cool fight scenes in there, a lot of reliance on Dutch angles, which is a bit weird. That's being nitpicky. The train sequence is still really cool. That was when they highlight all the trailers on. The skydiving sequence off the motorcycle, again, super cool. Not gonna discount any of that. And also has Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy in here, who only has a few lines. But hey, she looks having a lot of fun, so I'm happy to see her here. Yeah, I don't know. There's this weird mixture of self-awareness mixed with also just taking itself way too seriously. It doesn't quite mesh as well as I would like it to. I did kind of like when they're having a bit more humor about just the absurdity of the Mission Impossible movies in general. I kind of wish to lean more into that as opposed to super serious stuff, because nothing was more unintentionally hilarious to me when it was trying to be super serious about the entity, which is what they call the AI robot that's trying to control everything. Is the entity is so smart, knows your name and knows everything about you. It's a self-learning AI, which again is so hilarious given modern context for that phrase. Because if there are chuds out there that think this is where that technology is going, you're fucking kidding yourself. But anyway. I just remember the part that I was kind of already just kind of deflated from my enjoyment of this film is when Tom Cruise runs into Haley Atwell for the first time. Her character's name is Grace, and when he does, he kind of like makes an offer to help, for her to help him steal these keys and kind of help him out and do the espionage stuff and all that as kind of like a impromptu recruit for his little groupie, for this little group. And he says something along the lines of, I know you're after his key and his flash drive filled with $1.3 million worth of cryptocurrency. And that's where I was like, okay. First off, you sure you want to steal that? You sure you want to steal that? I also don't think shit like that's on a flash drive. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that's how the technology works. So that already right there is pretty laughable. Second of all, there's multiple references to the cryptocurrency and blockchain throughout, which is just, again, laughable in today's context, because you know it was probably a much bigger deal when they were writing it, when it was in the production phase. And now, in 2023, most cryptocurrency is pretty much worthless. There's no drive for the crypto market anymore. There's no interest in making more cryptocurrencies. There's no interest in NFTs. It's dead in the fucking water. And this movie is treating it like it's like this super covert, futuristic thing. And it's never fucking was. It was never fucking going to be. It was a grifter market run by grifters, and anyone with actually paid attention to all of it would have known this. So shit like that dates this movie immediately, and to me was very distracting for the rest of it. So I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie, because it is still a Mission Impossible movie, so it is well produced. The actions do work well. Everyone seems to have a good time with it, and I still enjoyed what you come to see a Mission Impossible movie for. I think if I just had to watch a Mission Impossible movie again, I'd watch the last one again, if only just because I had Henry Cavill doing his weird arm reload shit, and I still think that's fucking great. But yeah, so I'll be curious to see if the second part of this movie kind of ups the ante a little bit. I feel like they were holding that back a little bit, so I'm going to see if the next one kind of really puts it up there. Although they really crash a train, so that's cool. Always down for practical shit like that. But as for the rest of it, yeah, it's fine. I enjoyed it. Don't think I'll watch it again, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. So, it's pretty. It's very pretty. Don't know why Tom Cruise doesn't look old yet, but whatever he's doing in Scientology is working for him, I guess. So, next movie.